Carry out measuring practice on cylinder bore for taper and out of round with dial bore gauges. Hi, my name is Charumadi. During periodic service, the technician carries out various tests to identify the engine performance like power balance test, compression test, etc. Based on the test results, the technician decides whether the engine repair work is necessary or not. The cylinder bore measurement is one among them, and the test results gives us whether the bore to be reconditioned or replaced or the same can be used. The on-out bore results in poor pickup and more fuel consumption. Now I am going to demonstrate how to do the cylinder bore measurement with the help of a bore dial gauge.
At the end of this demonstration, you will be able to set bore dial gauge for taking measurement. Measure cylinder bore. Tools, equipment and materials required. A 4 or 6 cylinder block. Bore dial gauge. Outside micrometer. Oil can. Soft cloth. Do you know how the engine works? During engine running, air enters inside the cylinder during suction stroke and the air gets compressed during compression stroke. At the end, the diesel is injected and combustion takes place. So the movement of the piston downwards is called a power stroke, and finally the burnt gases escape to the atmosphere. Here the engine completes 4 strokes in one cycle. A piston moves inside the cylinder when the engine is running. The diameter of the piston is slightly less than the diameter of the cylinder and has no direct surface contact in between them. But the piston rings has contact with the cylinder, and a layer of lubricating oil is maintained in between the cylinder and the piston rings. Now let us see how the wear forms when the engine is running. When the piston is at TDC and BDC, the connecting rod is in straight position with the cylinder. But when the piston moves either from TDC to BDC or BDC to TDC, the movement of the connecting rod creates a force on the piston against the cylinder wall. During suction stroke, the piston moves from TDC to BDC, and only vacuum is created inside the cylinder, which does not have any impact on the piston. But during the compression stroke, the piston moves up against the air pressure inside the cylinder. This resists the movement of the piston. So, initially the piston tries to move the piston against the cylinder wall. Now the connecting rod movement creates more force on the right side of the cylinder than the other side. Similarly, during power stroke, the movement of the connecting rod creates force on the left side of the cylinder. If you divide the cylinder into 4 as shown, then 2 surfaces have more wear than the other 2 surfaces. The more wear area of the cylinder is called thrust side, and the lesser wear area of the cylinder is called non-thrust side. Now you can find the wear is not equal around the cylinder. This is called ovality. Similarly, the air inside the cylinder opposes the piston movement when it is nearing the top of the cylinder than the bottom portion of the cylinder. So the wear on the top of the cylinder is more than the bottom of the cylinder. This action forms a taperness in the cylinder. The wear called ovality and taper increases due to the running of the engine, and it allows the air to escape in the crankcase. There is no much impact on exhaust stroke. So the compression will be weak and it leads to poor pickup and low mileage. To identify the defect, we have to measure the cylinder, and finally the technician concludes whether the cylinder needs to be replaced or not. Now I am going to teach how to measure the cylinder with the cylinder bore dial gauge. The bore gauge consists of dial gauge of 0.01 mm accuracy, handle, centering contacts, measuring plunger, extension rod for various sizes, washers. Now we are going to see how cylinder measurements are taken. First, check the actual size of the engine cylinder. Refer to the technical specifications of the engine's service manual. If the service manual is not available, then use a ruler across the top of the cylinder to get a rough idea of its diameter. First, we need to set a micrometer to the actual size of the engine cylinder. Clamp the micrometer into a Y slightly. Select the correct size of the extension rod and set in the measuring faces of the bore gauge. After adjusting the spindle to reflect your engine cylinder size in the micrometer, place the curved frame of the tool inside the jaws of table Ys. Tighten the Ys just enough to hold the micrometer still. You'll be using the micrometer to transfer the measurements you take with your dial bore gauge. Fit a dial bore gauge with a head that matches the size of the cylinder. Zero your dial bore gauge to the micrometer. Position the gauge inside the micrometer, with the head resting against the anvil. When you've identified this point, turn the face of the dial so that the needle is resting on the zero. Be prepared to pause and record your measurements as you take them. If you just want a rough estimate of the cylinder's bore, you can get away with making only 6 measurements, 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom. If you also need to calculate its taper and out of round, keep in mind that you'll need to create a new chart for each cylinder you measure. Insert the dial bore gauge into the first cylinder in the block. Arrange the instrument so that the head points straight across the cylinder from front to back, perpendicular with the cylinder block. Lower it into the opening until it's sitting about 1.3 to 2.5 cm below the ridge. This will be the starting position for your first measurement. The measurement you take with the head of the gauge running perpendicularly to the cylinder block will be known as the vertical measurement. The one you take with the head configured parallel with the block will be known as the horizontal measurement. Rock the gauge back and forth until the indicator needle reverses its direction. Just like when you calibrated the dial bore gauge to the micrometer, the position at which the needle begins to fluctuate will serve as your measuring point. This occurs when the head is perfectly level inside the cylinder. Hold the gauge still at this sticking point and make a note of where the indicator needle falls on the dial. If the needle stops somewhere to the left of the zero, the measurement is in the negative range, which means that the cylinder's bore is greater than its clearance specification. Please note that no cylinder should ever have a diameter smaller than its listed dimensions, which would cause the needle to fall to the right of the zero. Translate and record the measurement you get in the first position. Each whole number on the dial represents 0.01 mm. Write down this measurement on your table. If the needle stops between the 7 and 8 positions on the dial, for example, it means that the inside of the cylinder is 0.07 and 0.08 mm larger than its clearance specification at your measuring point. Turn the head of the gauge 90 degrees and measure a second time. Continue measuring and lowering the gauge into 0.5 cm increments. When you've found the overall bore of this cylinder, move your gauge over to the next one and repeat the process. Do this for each cylinder you want to measure. Compare the measurements of each of your cylinders to the dimensions listed in the engine service manual. If any part of a cylinder's internal surface exceeds the minimum or maximum amount of clearance recommended for the piston, you may need to have it rebored. The major difference is obtained by subtracting higher reading to lower reading of ovality and taper. If the difference is more than 0.12 mm, then recommend to replace the cylinder liner and piston by a new, or recommend for next oversize rebore if there is no cylinder liner used. Nowadays, almost all the vehicles use cylinder liners. Record all the values measured in the table shown below. Tabulation. Based on the values obtained, decide the maximum taper and maximum ovality. Find out the maximum value in taper and ovality. If the maximum value is more than 0.12 mm, then decide to replace the cylinder liner and piston with the new one. In conventional vehicles, some manufacturers refer to reboring the cylinder also where cylinder liner is not used. In such a case, find out the maximum value of cylinder wear and multiply the maximum value by 2. For example, if the maximum wear is 0.08 mm, then multiply this value by 2. The answer will be 0.16 mm. In another case, the maximum wear is 0.14, then multiply this value by 2. The answer is 0.28 mm. Usually the first reboard size is 0.25 mm. The second reboard 6 is 0.50 mm. The third reboard size is 0.75 mm. The fourth reboard size is 1.00 mm. Now, in the first case, the wear will be 0.16 mm, which is less than the first oversize. So, recommend first oversize. That is 0.25 mm. In the second case, the wear will be 0.28 mm, which is more than the first oversize. So, recommend second oversize. That is 0.50 mm. But, the vehicles use cylinder liners and recommend replacing the liner with the new standard size.
Thus, we have learnt to measure cylinder bore for taper and ovality. Hope you have a clear understanding of this. Do this exercise with the help of your instructor. Thank you.